This is your government video on answering free response questions. The AP Government exam has 4 different types of questions. 3 of them are free response questions, and they have different styles to them. And the 4th one is an argumentation essay. For this video, we're going to talk about the various styles of free response questions. It is not really an essay. Free response questions typically have multiple parts of the question, A, B, C, maybe D. So if you have 3 separate parts of a question, you're not writing it as an essay with an intro or transition sentences. You're literally going to label part A, answer it as completely as possible, skip a line, label part B, answer that, and then label part C and answer it. You do need to make sure that you answer each part of the question fully and clearly as possible. If they're using vocabulary terms, like let's say one of the words in the answer is democracy, you need to make sure that you know and understand what the word democracy means so that the grader knows you understand what democracy means. They always, spelling and grammar and details like that count as well. So we're going to do a practice FRQ so you can see an example question. And this is responding to a quantitative analysis question. A quantitative analysis question typically has a chart or a graph, and then they're asking you 3 subparts related to the information on the graph. Part A is typically, can you read the graph properly? So part A in the question we're about to look at is, can you identify or describe the data that's in the visual? This one particularly is a chart. Part B is typically describe patterns or trends in the graph, and often can you explain them? So in the second part here, you'll see you have a second point for and draw the conclusion from that pattern or trend. And then part C is typically taking the information from the graph and applying it to something else that you've learned in class, so in an explain point of view. Here's an example of a question, and this is the one we're going to do in class. You've got a chart of data up here that says public education spending, amount spent per pupil by state in 2014. There's a legend so you can see the various shadings for each state, and that gives you an idea of how much spending each state has done, at least in 2014. So for question A, you have to identify the most common level of education spending by states in the Southeast. So you need to know which states comprise the Southeast on this map, and then can you read the legend to figure out what the most common spending choice is. B, you have to describe a similarity or difference in public education spending by state or region, as illustrated in the graphic, and then also draw a conclusion about the similarity or difference. So you have to find one that's accurate and then draw a correct conclusion. So that's a 2-point part for part B. In C is explain how public education spending, as shown in the graphic, demonstrates federalism. So they need to explain that you know what federalism is, as well as how this public education spending is a way to articulate federalism.